Players have two sets of parameters. The player technical profile, which can be assigned to multiple players, and the player properties, which are unique to each player. In this video, we'll look at the player properties. To begin, double-click the player's name to open the Player Properties window. This is where you manage each player's individual settings. Players are delivered with a generic name that you can overwrite. You can enter a name related to the player's location or one that describes its purpose. To rename a player, click the field at the top of the Properties window and type in a new name. You enter information about the player under the General tab. When you activate a player, the status checkbox is selected by default. You can deactivate the player by deselecting this box. Deactivated players show a gray status, and while they're in this state, they won't receive any updates or send back any logs. You may want to temporarily disable a player when you perform hardware maintenance or if you need to disconnect a device and don't want to receive multiple alerts. The company name is filled in by default using the information from your Navori extranet account. This information can't be edited by the user. The rest of the general fields are optional. However, we recommend filling out some information like the location of the player or a local contact's phone number so you can reach someone on site for equipment servicing. We'll skip the location-specific content and tag sections for now, as these are topics that will be covered in another video. Click the right arrow to move on to the next page. On the left, you'll find the technical profile settings. Once activated, each player uses a default profile that contains a standard set of parameters. However, administrators can also create custom profiles which you can select using the pull-down list. The technical profile may include a display on-off schedule depending on your QL server version, either cloud or on-premise. By default, QL Server Cloud doesn't set any display on-off schedule. The displays will remain on all the time unless you click the Override Display Control option and then enter an on and off event for each day that you want to schedule. If you don't want your displays turned on during the weekend, don't program any event after Friday evening. You'll find two buttons under the Display Control schedule. These buttons let you send remote commands to the selected player. When you click the Reset button, all existing programming and content is deleted, returning the player to its freshly installed state. The default media will then be displayed until a new program is sent. Clicking the Reboot button will force an instant player reboot. You don't need to click the Publish button after this step. The instructions are sent immediately. We'll skip the variable feature as this will be covered in another video. The Playback Resolution section displays the device's screen resolution detected by QL Player. For example, a full HD landscape display will be shown as 1920 by 1080 pixels. The same display in portrait mode will show the reverse, 1080 by 1920 pixels. Note that you can't change the screen resolution remotely. This needs to be configured on the device itself. Click the right arrow to move to the next page. You'll find all the information relating to the currently installed QL Player software under License Information. The software name, the software version, the currently assigned license number, the license activation date, and the license expiry date. Note that this information is retrieved from your Navori extranet account and can't be edited on this screen. If the media player hardware becomes defective, you can reset your QL Player license so it can be transferred to another device. You can reset a license in one of two ways. You can click the Reset the License button and the player's status indicator will turn gray. It will remain in this state until the license has been reactivated on the new hardware. If this option isn't available to you, close the player properties and right-click the player you wish to reset. Select Remove from the menu and then acknowledge the warning. Click OK to remove the player from your group. The license will automatically reappear in your default group after a few minutes. The default group's name is your email address. It's where all your purchased licenses are stored, so deleted players will reappear in this group. Cut and paste a player into a working group and reactivate the license. Note that you can't use a license on more than one device at a time. Let's go back to the third page of the player properties. The add-on table lists the QL player modules that are available. Activated modules are indicated by a check mark. Note that QL Cloud users receive all available add-ons with their licenses. QL on-premise users can purchase modules individually. Once a module has been purchased, it will appear in the list. The Systems Information table lists various hardware components. The last known IP and MAC addresses are automatically detected and displayed in their own fields. The media player serial field is left blank by default. You can use this field to enter the hardware serial number for future reference. Once you've completed your changes, click Save to confirm them. This concludes our review of the player properties. Be sure to visit www.navori.com for more information.